Cheerio. I apologize for my behavior the other night. I had some really good pot. Sorry. So here's what happened. I was listening to Suburban Nightmare. I told you what started it. Driving home from my golf trip, my girlfriend brought up my friend has a channel. They only talk about one murder. I put it on, and I was just appalled at the things I was hearing. So the other night, I'm listening and taking notes, and I just got carried away, and I was like, oh my goodness, I've got to talk to my friends. Here I am. So let's just get right back into it. Can you imagine being so insecure that you're posting bullshit on Facebook? But even if you're posting the truth, you're so insecure, you need acknowledgement from other people. I think that's kind of sad. Okay, so now they're talking about Shannon's job requires frequent travel. Okay, does it require it? Are you required to go to those conferences? But I'll tell you, you all know I was with Merrill Lynch for about 12 years, and I went on business trips. One time, my husband and I were walking off the airplane ramp, and there's a man standing there with the limo guy with our card, with our last name on the card. And my husband bumps me and he's like, hey, look, there's somebody else on the plane with our last name. I was like, dumbass, that's us. When you go on business travel, they pay for everything. I mean, they pick up your car from the airport. You go to the hotel. You give them your name. You're checked in. A lot of times when you walk into your room, you get a beautiful little gift basket. I went to Toronto once, and the gift basket was probably $300. They had given us each robes, and they weren't robes from the hotel. They were robes, I think they said Oppenheimer funds on them. That was who was sponsoring it. But you got nice stuff. It was like being at the Oscars, eh? So right below, I'm curious. What was Chris gonna do? So let's say NK hadn't started calling the police. I will tell you, on a side note, my body would be dead and rotted with flies and maggots before anybody noticed I was gone. I'm sorry. But you send me a text message, I may not respond immediately, but I'm so definitely not online to where literally there would be maggots coming out of me before someone would say, you know, I'm sort of worried about Meredith. I've sent her a couple memes. I love memes. She hasn't responded to any of those memes. Let's do a welfare check. But let's say NK had not called the police. What was he going to do? I mean, think about it. Sit here right now and take a second. Was he going to get home at 4 o'clock and say, well, I went to pick up the kid? What was he going to do? Oh, my goodness. It cracks me up anytime any documentary speaks of Shannon's career. Because my only one career, I never had to pay money. She couldn't lose her husband. I already said this. I said it 48 hours ago. She could not have lost her husband because she needed that paycheck to make her buys. If she doesn't have new purchases, she doesn't get the car allowance. The car allowance, you have to have, I believe it was actually 3 new recruits and a certain amount of sales every month. So what happens when you only have 2 recruits? You create a new fake account. You know, lala@gmail.com. Use your own credit card and sign that person up. And poof, you've got your 3rd recruit. Okay, well, that 3rd recruit paid $300. That's a lot cheaper than the $800 Lexus payment. So you know for a fact she had a couple of those. I just got to I'm talking about Shannon being online so much. It says, I'd been dead 11 days before anyone noticed. I already said that, but I really would have. But, I mean, obviously not. I have a family and stuff. But if my family, we have a home in Bimini in the Bahamas. If my family got on the boat and went to Bimini for 2 months, I could be in that situation. 11 days. When Officer Coonrod's walking around the house and banging on windows, He says to Nate. Nate walks out on his porch. Hey, have you seen the neighbor? Nate says to the cop, well, no, I know, but she's diabetic. Where'd that come from? Oh, I guess another, just like she was lupus. She was just as much diabetic as she had lupus. Here's something that's kind of sad. Have you ever thought about this? Every time this woman pushed the button to post or something, she had no idea the entire world was going to find out she was just a liar. A little bit of me, oh my goodness, you feel sorry for her because of what happened to her, but she almost kind of created that situation. It's nasty. She didn't really quite make that bad. But when you gaslight someone for 8 years, sometimes the consequences are worse. And obviously no one ever expects to get murdered. But she gaslit this man for 8 stinking years. Remember, she met him and she quit her job 3 weeks after meeting him. Well, how could she quit her job? Didn't she still have bills to pay? Oh no, she found out he had a $20,000 savings account. Look, I'm just following along the things that they're talking about. They've gotten out to that top door lock at the house, the hotel lock door. I've said this before. I've said most of this before. If your child is 3 years old and so undisciplined that you need that extra lock, you have no business having children. You say no. I've had a couple of people comment say, no, my kid ran. Your kid ran out of your house maybe once, maybe twice. But oh my goodness, you explained to that child that this is unacceptable behavior. It's just, no. Can you imagine a 3-year-old reaching into someone else's plate of food? No, that's not realistic. Even in the documentary, they talk about, well, apparently Chris's mom had some sort of ice cream event that night, and she had bought ice cream with tons of things that Cece was allergic to. Okay, that's not true. From what we understand, the 13-year-old granddaughter pulled out a vanilla cup. It was vanilla. But because there were other ice creams there, Shannon freaked out. God. But Shannon should be sitting there saying, I'm sorry that my 3-year-old child is such an asshole. They would reach into your food. Hey, when Chris gets to the cop, you guys all, when he first gets to the house, waiting, the cop's there, Nicole's there, kid's there. Do you guys notice that nasty look he gives NK? Okay, so here's NK. He's like, he goes straight to the garage. Always nasty. I mean, if a picture or a look could say 1,000 words. But here's my question. Comment below, right below. Why do you think he went to the car? I think he just was panicked. And he needed a second to walk before he walked into the house because he knows no one's going to be in there. And he's thinking, holy goodness, what do I do? And he thought, well, I'll open the car door. It gives me a second. I don't believe he dropped the wedding ring in there. I think he even told Sherilyn Cadle he left it on the nightstand on purpose. He told Sherilyn he forgot her phone. He did not mean to leave her phone there. But if you're looking for someone and you get home and we walk in the door, what's the first thing you do? Hey, Sal, David, even the dogs, Oscar. You open the door and you call out everyone's names. What does Chris do? Doesn't call out anybody's names. He's gone for 1 minute and 7 seconds and then comes to the front door. Okay, so now they're even more panicked because Shannon left the kids' medications. You know those EpiPens that she faked to get? So the kids' medications, was it Benadryl and Tylenol? Because that's what they took every night. She drugged them up with that. She had the EpiPens she scammed. We know she doctor shopped. She scammed to get those stinking EpiPens. Then they talk about, the police could tell right away because the bed wasn't made. Shannon was a fastidious housekeeper. She wasn't. Chris was. Chris was a great housekeeper. Chris talked about leaving the vacuum marks in the carpet, and he did the laundry. Chris was a great housekeeper. Shannon was a great boss. Then now they go to this Some Woman reporter, and they're talking about some people post intimate thoughts online. Oh my goodness. Think about the things she didn't post. I'm going to say that again in a second. But Christmas video, how many times I've brought that up now? 117 times maybe. The reason I bring that up is because she posted that. Her children are screaming. They're horrified. They're terrified. You know, this dude in a $250 rented costume. Meanwhile, mom's got perfect nails. The rent isn't paid or the mortgage. The kids are terrified. But what's mom doing? Gotta get this on film. Gotta have content. You know, Chris comes down the escalator from North Carolina. Hasn't seen his family in 5 weeks. And she texts him and says, make sure you text me when you're coming down the escalator so I can film. The fuck? Why don't you just be freaking happy your husband is home, you dumbass? Okay, I'm going to change the subject for a second. I happened to read something in the Munchausen by proxy book I'm reading, Playing Sick. The doctors really don't have any idea. So a lot of times cases come from women who have messed up childhoods, but a lot of times they come from cases from women who have perfectly normal childhoods. And so they do that so that they can have a little drama in their life. So pretty much the doctors know nothing about Munchausen by proxy. They have figured out that it is coming up a little bit more prevalently now. It's called, illness porn, right? Illness porn. These women who post this stuff up. $70,000 in debt, that Watts family is. Holy fuck. Dollars in debt. Oh my goodness. Obviously excluding the mortgage. I have had 10% of that. One time we had $8,000 of debt, and we had to run it for about 2 months, and it made me sick to my stomach. But okay, why did Shannon go to North Carolina in the first place? Why? Remember, this woman who wanted so much to be home with her children. Her children were the most important thing to her. We all know that, right? Right. Why? Because she was going to have 5 weeks of her husband leaving for work in the morning and not getting home until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And oh my goodness, that was going to be a lot of parenting, a lot of dealing with monsters. You can't just stick your kids in front of the television all day. That's the really most sad part. Ronnie Watts talked about when she was in North Carolina for 5 weeks, he said she'd never put that damn phone down. Now, one time, Mom Watts, Cindy Watts, had gone to the salon and said, I'll be home at 2 o'clock. And I'm making up the details. Well, she wasn't. And she happened to leave the salon and leave her cell phone there, which I can't even imagine. I would have figured that out right as soon as I got to my car and I started to plug my phone in. Where's my phone? And so Cindy went and ran some errands and then went back to the salon to pick up her phone. And was inundated with messages from Shannon. Where are you? Where are you? I have to work. What the hell? Why don't you be a parent? Same thing. When women say, oh, my husband is annoyed he has to babysit. He's not babysitting. He's parenting. That 5 weeks changed everything. It gave Chris the freedom that he had not had for 8 years. Someone wasn't hounding on it. Did anyone ever pick up that he was talking about in the interview that Shannon would call him and say something like, hey, can you send me a picture of that prescription bottle? You know what she was doing? She was making sure where he was. Can you even imagine being that insecure? I don't want to date somebody if I'm worried about where they are. My man is not home right now. I mean, I kind of know where he is, but I don't want to be with somebody if I'm concerned about that. You know what? You don't want to either. You deserve better. Remember, be in touch so I can film you on the escalator. Goodness, you needed content. I'm going to shut it down with this thing. People talk about how Cindy Watts didn't like Shannon. No. She didn't like the way she treated her son. Think about the way Shannon treated Chris online, the stuff she posted. So obviously, there were times that it was much worse. She's not going to post that. I wouldn't post a Christmas video. But she posted things like, he doesn't think, he's so dumb. You don't say that about the person you love. Seriously. So then, a couple days later, you go on the deck and you talk about, oh, he changed my life. He accepted me for who I am. Well, that doesn't make up for you being an asshole 2 days prior or whenever it was. I realize the deck video doesn't line up with the Christmas video. I'm making a point. You got to treat people with respect. No one is better than you are. I'm sorry. Shaquille O'Neal says that. Just because he has a big bank account, he is not better than anyone. None of us are. Goodness. That's why I don't give two shits about people in Hollywood. I'm enjoying Amber Heard and Johnny Depp just because she has now, you remember when she pooped on his bed? She has now pooped her career away. Good. I'm glad. Didn't know who she was. Apparently they were arguing one time and she's making fun of him because of 21 Jump Street. And he just goes, Aquaman. Good. Great comeback. Okay. You're still watching right now. I'm shocked. A couple of you always say, don't be shocked. Well, I am. Thank you. God bless you. If not for you, I wouldn't be here. I can acknowledge that. Hit like, hit subscribe. God bless America.